asked me once, Winston, what was in room 101. I told you that you knew already. Everyone knows. The thing that is in room 101 is the worst thing in the world.
So the other day, Google Ideas, who claim to be making tools to fight oppression, held a meeting about dealing with online abuse. Only they invited a posse of abusers to do so. Rather than just go off about that, I imagined what I would do if I had 10 minutes of Google's time in order to make a similar presentation. Okay, Google. I know that phrase is how to get your attention. It's the "would you kindly" of Google voice search. So, okay, Google. Recently, as part of Google Ideas, you hosted a meeting to discuss the issue of online harassment. Except, to this meeting, you invited some of the worst harassers on the internet. You invited an animal abuser who issues online threats and adapted one of the crudest, most laughable proactive censorship tools on the net to great and comedic effect. You invited a con artist and a liar who has built their fame on the supposed abuse they've received, much of which has been nothing but fair, if vociferous, criticism. You invited a domestic abuser and probable con artist whose involvement in journalistic corruption sparked the kind of year-long fight back against censorship and bad practice that Google, frankly, should have been throwing its weight behind. And the others? The noteworthy ones only aren't called trolls because they come at it from a position of ideology and from behind the relative weight of larger sites or publications. These are people who have gone after other people's jobs, whipped up harassment mobs to abuse others, and simply because they bind themselves up in the mantle of feminism or the shield of victim status, people like you listen to them. In short, these aren't the kinds of people you should be talking to about abuse, unless you want to learn how to be abusive and get away with it. All of this previous statement obviously comes under a big, legally necessary, allegedly, and in my opinion. That's how bad things have gotten. You can't voice your opinion without provisos. In fact, the only person missing from this lineup was Shanley Kane, and I suppose that's fair enough. She's just like the rest of them, but she's used up Silicon Valley's welcome somehow, while they've not. Well, that, and the only relevant thing to computer security to come out of Shanley Kane's mouth is Weave's dick. Did you laugh then? Was that harassment, or was that a joke at the expense of a toxic, self-aggrandizing personality and her former boyfriend, a white supremacist troll hacker? See, that's the other side of all this, the side unaddressed in all this moral panic. What is legitimate criticism? What's a joke? What's satire? And what is genuinely abuse? According to the kinds of people you've talked to, all of those things are harassment. That's no kind of world to live in, where anything and everything you say must be filtered through the sensibilities of the hypersensitive and tested for political orthodoxy, where speaking out when someone is wrong, abusive, or simply stupid results in you losing your job and being hounded half to death by the righteous, bowed under the weight of accusations of misogyny, racism, and so on, all of which without any basis, but enough to turn people's heads. No, that's no way to live. Online harassment is a genuine issue, but it's a genuine issue with no good or perfect solutions. What works most of the time, as ever, is don't feed the trolls. Better blocking solutions, better control over our own feeds of information, and ways to cut abusers out without them necessarily knowing, is what's needed. But even there we have a minefield. Shared ideological block lists cut people off from alternative points of view and lead to dangerous echo chambers that trend towards more extreme points of view, as has been shown in various psychological studies. The fact that ISIS copied the Blockbot should be something of a wake-up call on this. What solutions there are you're not going to get from people who use abuse to get their own way. Look to the current court case in Canada where Stephanie Guthrie may, if she wins her case, set a legal precedent for disagreement being considered harassment and abuse by the courts, with obvious massive implications for free speech in Canada. One of the people you consulted with also filed a court case that would have set a dangerous precedent for the shackling of free speech. Hopefully now it will set a precedent the other way. Google is in the information business, and all information is speech. All information is free expression. Google then has a business interest in the freedom of information. As a search engine, Google holds a near 70% chunk of the search market, which really might as well be a monopoly. Being a company of such size comes with some responsibilities too. The means of communication, which in the information age is also the means of production, are in private hands now. The safeguards that we have against governmental interference in free expression are not sufficient in such a world, and it's people like Google that need to step up and self-police. And Google isn't. Google is suppressing certain search results. It's unresponsive to certain corrections. The current top hit on Gamergate, for example, is a hit piece on another site that's having similar issues, Wikipedia. The wisdom of crowds is one thing, the irrationality of mobs or the dedication of a small group of hyperactive crazy people is another, and it can distort the content of things like Google searches, Wikipedia, or the population of crowdsourced block lists. To choose a more neutral example, as a case in point of where the effectiveness of search and the wisdom of crowds comes into conflict, consider the results of searches on 9/11. Some of the top hits are conspiracy bullshit. Go a bit deeper into the search and it's page after page after page of paranoid conspiracy theories. Do these conspiracy theories have any real value? Are they scientifically valid? Are they really that popular? Or is it that a relatively small group of completely insane people go on about it a lot and flood the net with articles? That's where you need to come in and make a human decision, a measured decision. And unfortunately, when you have been making those decisions, it's usually been wrong. And so it goes with online harassment. Look at who you invited. A majority of women all subscribing to 3.5 wave feminism. Most of the noteworthy ones are themselves abusers. It may surprise you, but the majority of victims of online abuse are men. According to one UK study, the typical victim of online abuse is a 19-year-old male Xbox player. Does your consultation reflect that reality in any way, shape or form? And aside from that, where's the other side of the equation here? Where's the balance? Where's the people pointing out the problems that might come from cracking down on abuse, especially when it isn't abuse? Where's Sam Harris to talk about how media distortion of his words has painted him as a racist, and the harassment that he gets as a result, harassment from the righteous? Where's Brendan O'Neill to talk about the McCarthy-esque nature of modern journalism, and its chilling effect on free expression there? Where's Violet Blue, a sex-positive feminist and a genuine expert in online harassment and online security? She has stories to relate about how policies stemming from the ideologies that you're supporting are negatively affecting tech conventions. Where's Christina Hoff Sommers or Janice Fiamengo to talk about how this same attitude and ideology is harming higher education? If we're to tackle online abuse, we need good, working, actual definitions of what constitutes online abuse. And that cannot be disagreement, criticism, satire or argument, even when it's strongly worded. We cannot entrust it to crowds because of mobbing. We cannot entrust it to algorithms because of exploitation and the crudeness of them as tools. This is going to take actual human action, and the only practical way to do that is to give tools to the people on the receiving end. So past better tools, I don't know that there is a solution. Some small measure of genuine abuse may be the price that we pay for a free internet. But I do know we need a fair and balanced discussion of these issues, and I know that filling a room with people who are the problem and listening to their ideological bias isn't going to get you that. You want to fight oppression? Give the Middle East free internet access. Don't compromise for China. Set your feet and stand up for free expression both at home and abroad. Set up rival online publication hosts for small publishers without content restrictions. Free Blogger from the restrictions you've added to it. Allow ghettoized adult material on Google+, provide tools to increase anonymity, remove all name restrictions and put an end to the NIM wars. Go back to not being evil. That would be fighting oppression. Thank you.